What is going on, everyone? Leon checking in, and we're at it again with more content. And today we're here to cover more of wearable displays and how they pair perfectly with Samsung's SPen and their S series devices, creating what might be an underrated computing experience at the moment. All things said, let's go ahead and get into it. So to start, the wearable display I'll be using here will be the Legion glasses. Now, unfortunately, these aren't listed on Amazon, but there are other options from XReal and Rokid, and you can find those at the Amazon storefront link in the description below. So quick summary here. Again, Legion glasses, they are paired with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9. And to explain a little more in detail how this is done, we are going to have this hardwired cable that comes out of the Legion glasses. Now that is a con here with the Legion glasses. Other glasses, they have a cable which can be detached from the glasses themselves. Now again, the reason we're using the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 is because it has a pen which docks conveniently on the back of the tablet, and we can remove. And this is going to be really cool because as we put on the glasses here, you're going to see a live demonstration of how this works for educational purposes and to help you decide if this is right for you. So again, we have the S Pen here, and when we get close to the screen, it is very small, but we have what I would like to call a pointer or cursor. And this is going to be very important because it gives you an idea of where the pen is located relative to the display. And this allows you to sit in a more comfortable position without actually having to look down at a tablet. Now, I will say, although we can sit in a more natural, comfortable position, it is normal for you to want to look down at the display because this is how we've interacted with electronics for so many years. So you have to relearn that you don't have to look down at the display. Again, we could sit in what would be a much more ergonomically friendly position where you're going to have better posture. You're not going to be looking down at something. You can actually look up, and you can occasionally reference the tablet. But again, you can sit upright, not having to look down. And I think this is more favorable overall. Now, again, we are using the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9, but all of this would work great together with other Samsung Galaxy devices such as the S23 Ultra or S24 Ultra or the ZFold series, anything that has an S Pen. And there is a benefit here. A kit like this is going to cost much less than, say, an Apple Vision Pro, but it's also going to be more compact and natural looking than, say, the Apple Vision Pro or a Meta Quest unit. Now, of course, there is a con with this kit compared to those, and that is this kit is going to have limited functionality compared to, say, an Apple Vision Pro or a Meta Quest unit. But I still do wonder if Apple or Meta are overthinking this whole puzzle here, and this is possibly the way to go. But let's take a look at the things we can do with a wearable display, a Samsung S Pen, and a Samsung S series device. So I'm going to put on the Legion glasses once again. And I do want to mention that you can use your hands to interact with the display still. That is still something you can do if you don't want to always rely on the S Pen. Now, there is a con when using our fingers to navigate the system UI. And it's kind of hard to tell in this video because I do have a screen recorder running and my touches are showing. But that's a feature of the screen recorder. When I'm not screen recording, the touches aren't going to show. And this makes it a bit more difficult to use this device while wearing a wearable display because you have to actually reference the actual display to know where your hand is located relative to the display. And another benefit of the S Pen is it's going to be more compact than other items that come with wearable displays, such as the controllers that ship with the Meta Quest unit. And since we're talking about size comparison, the benefit of using a Samsung S series device, such as a tablet or a smartphone, is that it's going to be much more compact than, say, a laptop, as long as you're not doing heavy power user stuff. So I'm going to try this demo without looking at the display too much, and I do have to look down to kind of know where to put the pen at first. But now that I see the cursor here, I can actually do things without having to reference that display so much. Now I will say there is a con here. I would like to see a bit of improvement, but you do have to have the S Pen really close to the display to get that cursor to show. If we could be a little bit further away, that would improve the accessibility and it would make it so that we rely less on the actual display. I still have to rely on the display. I'm not going to fake this video and tell you that the S Pen is like a magic wand and you never have to reference that display. But it is a start. But I would like to see this technology improve to a point where maybe I could just have to hold the S Pen this close and then I would get the pointer. That would be really nice. But again, we're going to get that pointer really close. I'm going to swipe here and I'm going to open a book here. And again, we've got the nice pointer here. I'm going to select the book and you can see that I'm looking up. Now, the reason I wanted to select this book here is because the text is really small. So again, I'm going to reference the screen here and it can be a little difficult to see this pointer on a white page versus on a black page, just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to go to the black page here though, and I'm going to try to highlight some text. And this is very hard to do because the text is very small. Actually, what I'm going to try to do is start at the very beginning here. I'm going to press and hold, and you can see that it's not really highlighting where I want to. Now I'm pressing and holding. I want to highlight this whole paragraph. This is possible, but it's a bit harder to do. So again, using the S Pen to select small items or highlight things such as what you see in this book can be a bit challenging. But again, we can use our hand and our fingers that are on the hand, and we can zoom in a little bit to make that a little bit easier. Now I'm going to do my best to not look at the display. I gotta get this S Pen very close here. And the pointer is very hard to see on this white page. But I'm going to try to go with resources here. And I'm going to press and hold, and then I'm going to try to highlight this text. So this is achievable, but again, you got to remember to basically tell yourself you don't have to look at the tablet. Now I'm going to highlight the text, and it's highlighted. Now if I press and hold on it, I can select it to copy it. And then I could share it by whatever means I guess I would like to do so. So the main point here is that you have to remind yourself you don't have to look down at the actual display because once again, you're using a wearable display. You have to basically retrain your mind. And this is challenging because if you're anything like me, you've used an actual display for decades or at least many, many years. Now there probably are going to be some weird things going on with the S Pen. For example, I would think to turn a page with the S Pen, you would swipe, but it's actually a tap on the display in either the left or right edge, depending on if you're trying to go backwards or forward. Now again, the S Pen works great for other things such as browsing the news, and you can see that I'm actually not looking down at the display here, and I'm getting a little bit better at selecting things. But we're going to open the Google News app that I have here on my home screen. We're going to tap on it, and the S Pen is great for scrolling because we got that pointer that shows up again. And we can also select things. So we're going to go ahead and select this double Big Mac review. You can see that works really well. And again, we're not looking down at the display. This seems to get better with time. We're going to actually try to close this pop-up. And it seems like I'm going forever here. And I accidentally clicked it. So we're going to back out there. I'm going to try to open this page once again. And we're going to try to close the ad without clicking on it. This is a little harder to do. There we go, ad is closed. Let's see if we can succeed without clicking on any more ads because all these articles are loaded with ads. We're going to try something a little more challenging. We have a video ad playing here. And I'm going to try to close it without selecting it. There we go. So this, as you can see, let's be honest, this takes time for me to do. It's a lot slower than if I were to just use my finger. But the advantage of the S Pen is that it has a fine point, so it's going to be more accurate. But when it comes to doing big things such as scrolling, this is not an issue at all. It actually works really well. Again, when it comes to selecting small things, it is going to be challenging because even though that point on the pen is fine, it's still a little weird to have to click on those small items because you have to see that pointer, which is really small. It'd be nice if there was a way to zoom in, an accessibility feature. I'd have to look into that. That might be something worth considering. But I do want to say, again, I am getting better at knowing how or where to place the S Pen in proximity to the display so that that pointer does show up. And this is happening a bit more naturally for me. And then we have S Pen gestures. So I'm going to exit this app and I am going to try to look for YouTube. Let's see how good I can do this here. Let's see. This is taking a long time. I imagine if I was doing this by hand, it would be faster. But you know, the thing to keep in mind is that a lot of this is in its infancy. So there is YouTube. We're going to select it. That is opening. And then we can go ahead and select something here. Now, I don't want to select other people's videos just in case. I don't know if this video would get blocked. But we're going to take a look at some of my videos here. So we're going to select one of my videos. There I go. I'm looking down at the display again.
Hotel room is your bedroom.
And with the S Pen, I can actually pause the video after I click skip here. So I'm going to single press here. There we go. We've paused the video. I'm going to try to turn the volume down. There we go. The volume is going down. And I see this all in the virtual display. And if I want to increase the volume, I can do the same thing. There we go. The volume is increasing. So you can actually use gestures while wearing the wearable display and using the S Pen. This is nice because you don't. It's a lot easier. You don't have this tendency to feel like you have to reference the display. And we can also use a gesture to play the next video. There we go. I'm going to pause the video. And then I could go back to the previous video. There we go. And that takes practice. Gestures are a bit of a learning curve. I've made a video of that as well, which you can find by clicking the card in the corner of this video if you do want to learn more about that. But overall, I will say that this so far is impressive, although, again, I can't emphasize enough, there is a learning curve. There's a learning curve for the gestures. There's a learning curve on knowing how far to place the S Pen from the display. And that's actually getting a lot easier because I know as soon as it shows up, I don't have to move the pen any closer, which you don't want to do because if you move any closer, you might accidentally select something that you didn't mean to select. And you can also pick up the tablet here. You can use it just like so. Although, you know, your hand holding the tablet is not going to be as stable. You might move the tablet a little bit. That might make it a little challenging. Or your palm might accidentally touch the screen or anything like that. But I can use the S Pen this way too, although I will say it is a little bit easier to place it on a flat surface. I also wish that the S Pen button actually stuck out a little bit more so that I could just feel it a little easier. That way I don't have to look down at the S Pen and try to find out where the button is to actually start the gesture. That would be a nice improvement as well. So that is it for today's content. Again, all of this is in its infancy, so it doesn't work perfectly. There are learning curves here, and I'll be honest, this is a bit challenging. But I will say this is really nice because the main focus here is that it's going to improve our posture. When we're wearing a wearable display, we sit at a better angle. And with practice, we can actually get that pointer to show up. This is feeling a lot more natural now. And we can interact a little bit better. So I'm actually getting better here. Let's see if I can select the Kindle app there. That's working really good. I'm going to select the Home app. And I can't emphasize enough, even though I'm getting better, I still want to look down at this display. But with time, I think that will improve. So the big question is going to be, is Apple or Meta overthinking wearable displays with these big bulky headsets? Now, I haven't tried an Apple Vision Pro, but I will say, at least with the Meta Quest, there's still going to be a market for it. You can play these nice virtual reality games, but I also use this more as a fitness device, especially for this time of year, winter time, when it's hard to get outside to do any running or jump roping. This fills that void very good. And when it comes to these wearable display glasses, you're not going to be playing virtual reality games, at least not yet. You can play games. You can play games from the Google Play Store, or say Xbox Game Pass or another streaming service, as long as you have a controller paired to a device such as the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 or the S23 Ultra or anything like that. But when it comes to the wearable display glasses, these will be mostly used for viewing content or productivity. I actually do use these at work with a laptop and a keyboard. And that, again, allows me to sit in a better position where I'm not looking down at a display. I'm looking more upright, and it does feel a lot more comfortable. So the last question is going to be, what are your thoughts? Overall, I'm very excited about these. And I do use these, and I do use a Meta Quest headset still. But that is pretty much it for today's content. As always, thanks for watching, and may the universe flow in your favor. And until next time, Leon checking out.